All right, there's so much I want to say. I got to try to say it all quickly, try to get it out all quickly before I forget about it actually, because I don't know. Today, a bit of background here. First of all, I guess thank you very much to anybody who checked out the shootout video that I played outside yesterday, the game of shootout hockey. It was just an idea that I came up with kind of spontaneously just before heading outside for a walk anyway, and I thought, sure, I'll bring the shootout cards with me and give that a shot. Could have been a little nicer. Would have been nice actually if the area that I had been in, if there was snow around. There was some snow down, and in fact, it did snow not that long after that video. It started snowing, so I know there's a few comments actually that I have to get back to. Maybe once I think of something witty to say. I know that Dave Gardner, for instance, made a comment about the wind, and I don't know, man. With heavyweights like Ted Lindsay, and Bill Barilko weighing that down, I don't think that was ever going to be an issue. But it did snow actually not that long after, so luckily I did have a bag with me. I was able to put the shootout cards in that. But uh, one thing about that, though, is I'm feeling a little under the weather today, which I don't think has to do with that game specifically. I was out walking around for a while before that game and then doing some errands and stuff after that there before it got too late. So I was just out in the cold, maybe a little too long yesterday trying to push it. So I'm on drugs right now, actually, because I don't want to be sniffing and I don't want to be sniffing, snuffing, and sniffling during this. So what this is here is the Southern Division Final, the Southern Division Final. Sorry if that's bad. I try. I think I do better when I'm off camera with that accent. But anyway, they get the San Francisco Seals here, but game one is going to be in the Memorial Coliseum in Portland here with the Buckaroos at home. This will be a best of five. I did a 20-game abbreviated regular season. And when I do abbreviated 10 and 20-game regular seasons, a best of seven just feels like a bit much because then it's like as many postseason games as standard regular season games. So what I normally end up doing is either a best of five or best of three. Usually it's the former, and that's what it is in this case here. This is going to be a best of five. I will play all five games with DoC Hockey. I sort of made the spontaneous decision during the Northern Division final playoff series there between Vancouver and Seattle. Spoiler: it went to Game 5. I was going to timestamp that one afterward too, and I announced as much during the video and then decided that I wouldn't. But just because, I don't know, it kind of, if you don't know that it goes to game five, then maybe there's something there. It's a fast game anyway, it plays pretty quickly. And feel free to flip ahead and find out who won, of course. So I'm about to spoil it actually because the winner of this series will face the Vancouver Canucks actually in the final. So it's going to be either San Francisco, Vancouver, or Portland and San Francisco in the final. And this was quite a series, actually. Decisive games in the early going. Portland took game one and by a 3-goal margin. Then San Francisco won the next two, each by a 3-goal margin. And there were the first several games were all won by 3 or 4-goal margins. Portland tied the series up, and actually Portland went ahead 3-2, and San Francisco had to come from behind in order to win it and advance to the final, where they met Seattle. But it's who remains to be seen what we will get here. We've already had one upset in my replay of this. Again, spoilers, so we could very well have another. Anyway, I'm going to get this going, and I've decided last time as well I had both the magnet puck and the pencil pointer, and I ended up really not using either. I think if I go with just one or the other, I'll be okay. So I might even I'm going to try to go fast because I have up to 5 games to flip out here. But I might also try to point out some things as I'm going so that there's a little bit of, I don't know, educational value sounds like the wrong term, but a bit of value to if you want to learn how to play the game, I guess, for lack of a better way of putting it. And also coming into this one, Portland, during the 20-game regular season that I did, the condensed season, finished first overall, actually, in the whole Western Hockey League with a record of 14-3-3, whereas Seattle, they had a record of 12-7-1, so they were second place in the Southern Division. And I'm trying to think what the record would be relative to Seattle. It might have been second overall in the league. Don't quote me on that at the moment. Again, it was just a short season. So to start things off here, we're going to look, and if this is a red card, it goes to the home team, and if it's a card that is black, it goes to the visitor. Also, because it is black, we're going to look here to the team card there for the 2 for the 2 for the team. So we're looking at 5. They only have 3 players. I'm going to say Bailey for that matter. Then maybe I'll go 5, 4, and 4. We'll say Picard. We'll give the puck to Picard here. And with the 6 there, the team draw, it would have to be either a 9 or a 10. So 2 more cards coming off the pile here. And we're 2.5 minutes into it now to head up to minute 5 once again with another possession. That'd be Len Haley for the San Francisco Seals. Unfortunately, with that 7, just barely unable to make a play and connect with a pass to a teammate in scoring position. This is going to be Portland's first possession here up to the 7.5 minute mark here, where we have Mike Donaldson. And again, similar to Haley, Mike Donaldson just barely unable to maneuver it to anyone in scoring position. But this time they're going to have a better chance, are the Portland Buckaroos, courtesy of Arnie Schmatz here. Schmatz with a 9. Indeed, he has set someone up. That someone is Art Jones. Art Jones with 16 points in 20 games during the regular season. And Jones, he picks up another point here. So our first goal here in this thing, 7.5 minutes in roughly. It's going to be Art Jones from Arnie Schmatz. And secondary assist, we have the 5 of clubs here. Schmatz, again, he can't assist twice on it, but I guess he was all over that goal and all over that play if one wants to read into it. And I do like reading into it, or trying to. So it's going to be Jerry Goyer, who led the Portland Buckaroos with 20 points in as many games. Portland didn't have anybody in the top 10 in scoring in this thing, my replay of it, whereas the Seals, on the other hand, they had McCoskey, who won the scoring title, and then followed by Ed Panagobko, 26 points. He was top 3 or 4. Orlin Kurtenbach with 22 points, above a point per game, and Danny Belial also with 21 creeped into the top 10. But here we have the ace. The ace, once again, Jerry Goyer. Jerry Goyer with the king. That will penetrate the Seals' limited defense, and he gets it to the queen. The queen there, Gord Fashaway. Gord Fashaway, however, with a blackjack. That's going to be a save there by the renowned Jim McLeod. And we're going to get, speaking of aces, Orlin Kurtenbach here. Queen, however, Queen, Red Kings, and King of Clubs only. So Portland Buckaroos defense able to stop and stymie Orlin Kurtenbach there. And so we're going to take 2 more cards here off the pile, where I hope I did that correctly as well with the Goyer. Did I do that correctly with the Goyer? Hold on now. Let's go back here now. So one can go back and flip through it here. So the ace and then to the king. The jack. That's right. Okay. So we're about, I want to say we're like 12.5 minutes into it, but I'll have to double check here shortly, momentarily. It's going to be Nick McCoskey here with it. Headed to the 15th minute. I'm not going to injure Nick McCoskey. No way. I'm just going to burn 2 cards off the pile. If he missed any time, it's already baked into the card anyway. Short series, short tournament. I want to do that. I don't want to see it settled that way. Tom Thirlby here with a 6, unfortunately. So let me double check here. And so with a goal and a team card played, and I have 20 cards remaining in this pile, that means the first period is done here. And so it's 1-0 for the Portland Buckaroos there after 1. Okay, here for period 2, where it's 1-0 Portland after 1. It was, who was it from Arnie Schmatz? I remember Arnie Schmatz. It was Art Jones with the goal there. So 1-0 here, Portland. And it's going to be San Francisco starting off here, courtesy of Race here with the ace. And, the Joker, unfortunately, that means it's not going to be able to get it to anybody. So another card burned here up to the 5-minute mark. However, it's going to be Sear with another possession where he gets Jokered out again. So if it weren't for bad luck, Ray Sear wouldn't have any at all there. However, Ed Panagobko with a 2. So again, the Seals with all the possession time, they're just not getting the cards here early in the second. I think we're up to 7.5 minutes in already. We're Arnie Schmatz again here. Schmatz this time with a 6, just barely able to put it through, and he gets it through 2-4 there. That's Arlo Goodwin. Arlo Goodwin with a 2, similarly unable to score. This is a tight contest thus far. We're about halfway through it here in regulation, where there will be sudden death overtime if needed, with this being a postseason. Anyway, let me double check there. So it's going to be, again, Schmatz here with it. So, and again, like McCoskey, I'm not going to injure Schmatz. So 2 more cards here coming off the pile. Got to try to pay better attention. Again, whenever I see that ace, I think, that's a goal missed. Anyway, we got the team card again. The team card this time, not pick card. I guess I shuffle well enough. Hopefully it's going to be Bailey this time. And Bailey with the 9, able to make a play for the San Francisco Seals, getting it to 9. Danny Belial. And Danny Belial has tied the game here for the San Francisco Seals in the second period. I think we're about 12.5 to 15 minutes in. I sort of feel it in this deck when it feels like it's getting just light enough, and then I pause and double check. Anyway, we got a 1-all game here, courtesy of Belial, Bailey, and secondary assist time. It's going to be Thomas Thirlby. So 1-1 here we are. It's going to be Orlin Kurtenbach as well off the draw out of the gate. However, I think he had that queen before, so didn't shuffle perfectly, I guess. Didn't maneuver them all. Anyway, this time it's going to be a 9, so Belial, he's looking for a little more points here, a little more point action, and he gets it to Al Nicholson. Al Nicholson needed a 5, but he only got a 3. And a team card and a secondary assist says that's the end of 2, a period that I think I flipped out in just barely 2 minutes, if that. So back for the third period in game one. It's a 1-1 game after two. It was Art Jones scoring for Portland, and I believe Danny Bella responding for San Francisco. I'll have to play it back. That's another thing too. I have to play back several videos actually for as many games, and I don't keep stats while I'm playing, so it would just slow me down. Anyway, so we're gonna get here. It's Larry McNabb here starting things off for San Francisco in the third period. The Red Jack, that's not going to solve the Portland defense. So we're now 2.5 minutes in here roughly, and Ken Loffman for Portland. Loffman, he had like 16, 17 points in 20 games, but he gets a 2 here, so he's unable to do anything with it to add to that point total, combining the regular season and the postseason. It's going to be Ray Sears. He jokered out this time. He is not Ray Sear. He's going to play it through to nobody, apparently, so I spoke too soon there. He passes it to open ice, and it's taken away. And it's going to be Tom McVeigh with it here. And he gets, I still don't know how to pronounce his name correctly. And I'm sorry, and I'm behind on a documentary that I've been meaning to watch that Ron sent to me forever ago, which I've seen some but not all of. Anyway, he's going to get it through to somebody. And that somebody's going to be Arnie Schmotz looking for another point here, but with the 4, Schmotz misses and misfires. So it's going to be Orville Tessier. Tessier himself about 12 points, and this Portland did have the depth scoring. They have Tessier, who has an ace. He has an ace. He gets it to McVeigh for another opportunity, and he's going to make this one count here in the third period. At a critical time, a critical juncture in the game, the Portland Buckaroos have taken a 2-1 lead. It's McVeigh from, who did I say? I think I said Schmotz. No, from Tessier. That's right. Wow, short-term memory failing me here again. And the secondary assist is going to be Arlo Goodwin there. So anyway, it's Portland maintaining possession after the goal. They have momentum now, but Mike Donaldson might have thrown that away as he throws the puck away. And it's going to be Tessier here with another shot. Tessier also a narrow miss there. The Seals trying to tighten up on their defense. And with the 2, unfortunately, that's going to be a Buckaroos team player. That might be all she wrote here. I'll double check. But we'll say Donaldson there has another try. Donaldson with the 10. Maneuvers it through to a 2 to another team player. This is a long-ass sequence. With the 10, and they get an ace. So here, evidently, from their bench, from their depth, because the 10 would have been, I would have gone with not Dallas Smith, so that would have been cool. Probably Davidson here. I can't remember his first. Maybe it's Bill Davidson, actually. I think so, Bill Davidson here. Again, these are not NHLers. So let me double-check here. So 3, 6, 9, 12... 15, probably about 19 cards left. Yeah, because again, a couple of goals and the team card sequence there. I do need to flip for a secondary assist as well, and we'll be down to 18. So secondary assist there. First of all, this is from the team players, so it's going to be Davidson from Donaldson. And courtesy of this 5 of hearts, I'm going to go with Jerry Goyer there with the secondary assist, because H for hearts and then ace to 6. There, I pointed out something in this game at least. So after game 1 here, 3-1 here for Portland at Portland Memorial Coliseum. Now we're going to head back to San Francisco and Cow Palace for game 2. So be right back with that. So here at the Cow Palace in San Francisco for game 2, Portland took game 1 there by a score of 3-1. And getting the insurance there from the bench. The team bench there toward the tail end. And so historically, actually, Portland took game 1 and then San Francisco took the next pair. Although also historically, if this is only 5 games, then that would benefit Portland. That would be to their advantage. But here to start things off for game 2, it's going to be Bill Saunders there for Portland. And Saunders with the 4 unsuccessful, playing it to anybody in scoring position early. We're about 2.5 minutes in. This time it's going to be Al Nicholson here for the Seals with that 2. Unfortunately, that's a dud of a play. And so the queen this time is going to be Ray Sear. Ray Sear, no jokers. Let's hope for no jokers. Sear with the 8 plays it through. He gets it 2-7. That's Mo Mantha jumping up in the play here. Mo Mantha with a 5. That's going to be a narrow miss there for Mantha. Right? Did I put the 7 and the 5? Yep. So what are we now? 7.5 minutes in. I've lost track already. Where Arnie Schmotz has it for Portland with the 8. Schmotz gets it through to the king, Tom McVeigh. We saw this combination last game. The cards were different, I think, but I hope. But the result is the same. It's Schmotz from, or McVeigh rather, from Schmotz once again, right? Yeah, McVeigh from Schmotz. And the 3 here is spades. That's going to be Ken Loffman picking up a secondary assist. 1-0 Portland here in San Francisco in game 2, period 1. And we get the 5 there. That goes to Bill Davidson. Bill Davidson unable to maneuver it to anybody, because a 2, unless you're Guile Fielder for Seattle, is basically no dice, no go. So yeah, that was 2 more coming off the pile after the 2. And we're going to get here Tom McCarthy with the puck. McCarthy with a 9. That's a successful maneuvering it to Arlo Goodwin with a chance here to score. We got to look Red Kings only, because again, it's Jim McLeod. So it's going to be Orville Tessier here for the Buckaroos. Good period for the Buckaroos, it feels like. With the 6, unfortunately, Tessier ain't able to make anything happen with it. I think we got one more sequence, and then I'll double check where we have Jack Bionda here. He attempts to lacrosse saucer it to somebody up ice. Unfortunately, he's jokered out of it, so double check here. Yeah, 21 where there would be 22 if we didn't have a goal, so that's the end of one, and it's 1-0 Portland after one. So here for period 2 of game 2, Portland up 1-0 after one. And I'm surprised actually that through a little bit through 4 periods of play that the Seals only have 1 goal scored, but then I'm reminded that it's Don Head. Something of many things I meant to mention off the top, so I'm going to do it now so I don't forget to do it later. Is that the Portland Buckaroos, they had 70 goals for and 36 goals against during the regular season. So Don Head there with basically a 1.8 goals against average, maybe a little less if they pulled him for certain games, but they had a record of 14-3-3, so there wasn't much pulling of Don Head to be had. And the San Francisco Seals, 72 goals, led the Western Hockey League again. It was a condensed 20-game season, but 67 let in. So take that for what it's worth, and let's get to period 2 going here for game 2. So it's going to be starting things off here. I think much like period 1, Saunders with the queen of clubs, just barely able to get it through, but barely able to get it through to Saunders himself here. End-to-end individual effort with the 5. So right off the bat here in the second period, Portland Buckaroos taking a 2-0 lead here in game 2. And let's see if there are any assists in Saunders' goal at all. We look here to the clubs and to Jack Bionda. So there he was able to complete the lacrosse saucer after all. And let's see here. So, get things underway here again, where it's going to be Bionda doing the honors again. But unfortunately with that joker, again, he's jokered down and out. I should have been at home for that one. So it's going to be the king, however, Art Jones here. Art Jones artfully maneuvers it through to Saunders again, looking for another. He's not done, so suddenly Portland maybe blowing this game open a little bit here. They've got a 3-0 lead here, not that far into the second period. It was Saunders from was it Bionda? Oh, no, Jones, yeah. Saunders from Jones, damn it. And it's going to Bionda picking up the secondary anyway. There you go. I knew it. Anyway, so 3-0 here for Portland. It's all Buckaroos. Tom McCarthy now. McCarthy with the ace. That's through successfully to 3 there. Doug Anderson there with the 4, unable to score. And finally a possession for the San Francisco Seals. It's going to be Camille Bedard. And Bedard punts it there. He blunders. So 2 more coming off the pile, where again we have Art Jones with the puck, and this time the queen of clubs will suffice where the queen of spades will not. The San Francisco Seals finally able to break up a play with their blue line, and we go to the 8. The 8's going to be Al Nicholson. Al Nicholson gets it to 4, so nobody actually. 2 more have come off the pile. And with 2.5 minutes to go, that joker would have been a goal. And yes, I paused to double check. It's going to be Thirlby here with it. Tail end of the period, unfortunately, with that 6-0 doing there. So I didn't even really need to turn over those 2 cards, but I just did. It's end of sequence, end of period, end of play. And so far, 3-0 for Portland after 2. And they're already up 1 game in the series. And before starting period 3, I just want to point out actually, because I had a little talk, I guess, other than, the play, just to try to break things up here a little bit. If you're listening, it will hopefully sound slightly less monotonous here. Don Head, if you're also looking, it says nil next to his name for the face card check. I think this is the only time I've ever seen this on a DoC card. Basically, it means that anything that he has a chance on, he will save. Or that's how I interpret it. And the only way to score on Don Head is if the forward, or if the offense, for that matter, does something outstanding. Or in the very least, just says it in their scoring range. Anyway, let's get things started here again, too, where I want to give Don Head credit for playing really well for Portland, but truth be told, I think it's just the Buckaroos' possession. This being no exception to start things off. Tom McVeigh here with it. But the joker, that's been about the only thing getting in Portland's way for this one. We're now 2.5 minutes in, which I'm sure to lose track of shortly here. Mike Donaldson with a 10, automatically through to Saunders. Is this a Saunders hat trick? Just barely with that 3, so it's Bill Saunders 3 and the Portland Buckaroos 4. And I'm pretty sure somebody else in Portland scored. So it's a 4-0 game here now for the Portland Buckaroos. And goodness, wow. Okay, that's right, too, Donaldson. He's a little lower in the roster there. So It's Saunders from Donaldson, the secondary assist here going to Art Jones. And 4-0 Portland here in the third period of game 2. So 6, finally San Francisco here. Mo Mantha with a 10. And he gets it to 7. 7 here. Mo Mantha to Mo Mantha. He's trying to do it all himself where Don Head, remember what I said about the face guard. Anything Don Head has a chance on, he will stop. So Head gobbles that up where Racier has possession now with the 5. Racier plays it through to a 10. That's Orland Kurtenbach. Orland Kurtenbach with the Kings. So remember what I said about Don Head when I gave his home team responsibility? I really got to watch my mouth. I really have to not speak so soon. I do this time and again here in these videos. Anybody that knows the history of this channel, all the way back to Craig Rivet and on forward, I start saying something, I start talking smack about a guy. And anyway, Head has come up big here in back-to-back plays, making outstanding saves. So shows what I know. So here, Larry McNabb here with it now for the San Francisco Seals in the 5. I think they're upset that I said what I said about Don Head as well. With the 2 this time, though, it's going to be 7. It's going to go to a team player. We're going to give it to Bailey here for the Seals. And unfortunately, with that 2, unable to get it through. This time, I think I got to burn 2 cards. And so if I'm keeping track here, so it's Bill Saunders here with it again. Quite the game he's having here. Queen of clubs, Saunders maneuvers it through, not to Saunders, but to Arlo Goodwin. And Goodwin with the Red King, and that is the only thing that will solve Jim McLeod, who is the second best goalie in this series. So we have a 5-0 Buckaroos game here in Cow Palace in San Francisco here in game 2, and this is a best of 5. The secondary assist here on Goodwin's goal, we're looking to the 9 of hearts. That's going to be Tom McCarthy picking up the secondary. And Saunders as well with another point. He's got at least 4 of them. Great effort here from him, stepping up in a critical game. Though it's becoming less critical with a score like that. But we got the 9 here. It's going to be Danny Belle-Isle. Belle-Isle with the 3. Unfortunately, he punts it with not enough time. I think we have one more sequence, but I should double check. I thought wrong given the team deal and everything. So after 2 games, actually, the Buckaroos, they took game 1 3-1 and they took game 2 5-0. So I'll be back after a shuffle and a switch for game 3. So back for game 3 where Don Head blanked San Francisco in game 2, and he did make a couple of awesome saves late. One could interpret that as being. And Portland did their part as well, putting up a 5 spot, whereas San Francisco, I didn't even have to change the Uno cards for them there. Looking at the big old 0. They have 1 goal in 2 games so far in this series, and because this is a best of 5, the Bucks here, they have a chance to buck history here and close out the show here at Memorial Coliseum in Portland in game 3. But it's going to be San Francisco off the opening draw. Larry McNabb. McNabb, unfortunately for the Seals' sake, unable to get it to anybody in scoring position. And it's going to be Art Jones. Also unfortunate for San Francisco. Art Jones with the successful maneuvering to Bill Saunders. Sorry, I am going to take the very top card. Saunders with the 8. He hadn't saw that all the way. Saunders now, he had a hat-trick last game, and he's just been on fire in this series. So 1-0 here for Portland about 5 minutes into it. And Saunders from Jones. And the 4 of clubs tells us it's going to be Schmotz picking up the secondary. So hopefully I've shuffled well enough. Tom McCarthy here with it up to 7.5 minutes now. McCarthy with the 8. He's going to play it through too. And he gets it to Arnie Schmotz, who's looking for another point. But with that 2, he fans in the shot. And it's going to be Ken Lofton here this time with him. Lofton with a narrow miss here for Portland as well. Been a bit snake-bitten thus far in this thing, but hey, his team's still winning. And they're also maintaining possession. Now, they had this in game 2. Look, they're getting all the red cards in game 3 where they had all the black cards in game 2. It is Art Jones here with it once more. Hopefully you're not tired of hearing his name. Unfortunately for Jones' sake, he's unable to play it through, where that would have been another Saunders goal had he been able to, just technically knowing the mechanics of the game and how it works. Speaking of Saunders, though, to speak of Saunders, the 6 and the 2, evidently a little too much ice time. They're overdoing it. They're overplaying him now. He's getting a little tired. They're trying to pad his stats. Where Tom Thirlby here with the 7, Thirlby just narrowly unable to. And 2.5 minutes here to go in the opening frame here in game 3, and last sequence of the period, if not last minute of the period, where Nick McCoskey suspiciously quiet thus far after he nearly got injured, so it was a bit of a scare. Maybe he was playing hurt. Yes, I like adding my own narrative to this. McCoskey's going to get a 5. Let's see if he can maneuver it to himself. Oh, didn't I call that? Actually, the 3 kind of dropped, but I wasn't looking at the 3, which I have no way of proving. But Nick McCoskey here, look at that. McCoskey just in time, not a moment too soon. They need McCoskey to get into this series, and he has tied the game here for the San Francisco Seals in Game 3. McCoskey to McCoskey, end to end, and Nicholson there picking up the assist, the only other touch the Seals had. So McCoskey coming up big there, never when they've needed it more, and that is actually at the tail end of 1, so it's 1-1 after 1 here in Game 3, again at the Memorial Coliseum in Portland. Back for period 2, and let's see who's going to get it out of the gate. It will be Orville Tessier here for the Portland Buckaroos, but he misplays it, so we're 2.5 minutes into period 2. It's going to be a team player here for the San Francisco Seals. Let's give it to Bailey. And with the King, it goes back to the Portland defense here. Red Kings and King of Clubs. So unfortunately, 2 more cards come off the pile. Now we're 5 minutes in. San Francisco unable to get anything done there. It's going to be the Ray Sear. He's had a lot of touches in this series. This is a successful one, except for the damn Joker. And it's been like a different card before and after, too. Ray Sear. Hard luck Ray Sear in this series. Another card burned. 7.5 in now, I think we are. Larry McNabb has it this time. McNabb with a 7. Oh, I thought he was finally successful, but he isn't. So 2 more come off the pile here. Now we're 7.5 to 10 in there, about something like that. It's going to be McNabb again with another try with a 9. McNabb finally does it again. I got to be careful what I say about McNabb. Unfortunately, Panagobko, he's been stopped stone cold there by Don Head. So this time it's going to be the Jack, though. Panagobko wants another go. With the King, with the Red King, he's going to play it through, penetrate the Buckaroos defense. He gets it to 5. Tom Thirlby with the 7 where he needs an 8. So they're just so close, getting a lot of close calls here. Close but no cigar. The San Francisco Seals here, it sure isn't for a lack of trying and hard effort, where Camille Bedard has the puck now again for the Seals, but with the 2, unfortunately, maybe a little out of steam after having a head of steam on that shift. It's going to be here Arlo Goodwin for the Portland Buckaroos here with a 10. Goodwin, let's see who he's set up here in the goal mouth. Jerry Goyer going to the goal mouth where he normally gets helpers. Needed a Red King. That is a great glove save there by Jim McLeod, and let me double check. So we have a full period of close calls, and it was a close call that I almost flipped that to about 22.5 minutes. But it's still 1-1 after 2 here in a critical Game 3. San Francisco Seals facing elimination. And the Portland Buckaroos now, if they can win the period that follows, or even the sudden death that would necessitate thereafter, should the game remain tied, it means that they advance actually to the final, where they would then get to play for the Lester Patrick Trophy, the Stanley Cup equivalent for the Western Hockey League in 1963. Okay, so most important period of the season for the Seals, and not an unimportant one here for the Buckaroos as well, where it's going to be Orville Tessier here off the bat, but with the 2, unable to do anything with it here. 2 more off the pile, 2.5 in. This time it's going to be Larry McNabb. McNabb with the 8, another successful play. He gets it to Dale Edmondson, and Dale Edmondson with the King. Oh my goodness, it's on the goal line, and Don Head just gets on it just in the nick of time there. Wow. And it's blown down. In fact, I think they're even protesting that it was whistled down too early here in Portland. A bit of home cooking, perhaps. I have to look into that. Anyway, here with a 5, it's going to be Davidson. I believe that's Bill Davidson there. Bill Davidson, unfortunately, with the 2, unable to get anything done. And let's see here, Orlo Kurtenbach with the Jack. That's going to be taken away by the Portland defense here. 2 more coming off the pile. And with the 5, that's going to be Bill Davidson again. This time Davidson with a 10. He sets up Art Jones. Art Jones here with it. And only a Red King will beat Jim McLeod, as we found out with Chuck Maxwell. And it's going to work here for Art Jones as well. We have a 2-1 Portland game, and again, this one here, San Francisco facing elimination, so it bears repeating. Let's flip for a secondary assist now, and they could sure use another out of McCoskey. It's going to be McCarthy for Portland getting the secondary helper. And away we go with it here with the 6. So there, they just starts with a possession. Mo Mantha, he is successful with his possession, maneuvers it to a team player. The 9, I'm going to say that's Jackson. I believe that is Phil Jackson, actually. But an ace is needed on this next card because, again, they can't fool him with a face card. And, oh, my goodness, and normally, on so many cards, the 10 will work. San Francisco, it's been the story in this series. They're getting so close. but no cigar. But this is still a very close game, and it's not over yet. Where they have another possession, Len Haley, first time we've heard his name in a while. The king of clubs, unfortunately. So again, close call after close call after close call here for the Seals. They're just getting edged out. So two more coming off the pile here. Unfortunately, they are running low in time. And it's going to be a Portland team player. That's not going to help their cause either here. Donaldson here with it. Donaldson with the 7. They need an ace or a 6 to 10 just to set somebody up. And the 7. So to the ace, that's to Bill Saunders. And Bill Saunders, that could be an all-she-wrote goal. I'm going to double check here. 3-1 Portland here in the third period. In game 3, where Portland's up by 2 games, up 2 games to 0 in the series. And that's Jerry Goyer with a secondary helper. So 18, where we had a couple of goals and a couple of team players. I hope that everything adds up and checks out there. And so sometimes you get a really unexpectedly close and competitive series like the other semifinal, and then sometimes you get what we have here, which honestly, I mean, okay, 5-0 is 5-0. That game was just all Portland, from as I recall, from first minute to last, or first sequence to the final sequence, I guess. But here, I mean, this was a pretty even 3-1. Makes this look a little deceiving. This is a pretty close competitive game here, where the Seals, again, they just needed one more number, just a notch higher on so many chairs, just not to get him as many faces. So again, credit at the same time to Don Head, his ability basically in one-on-one, situations, I guess, whenever they have an opportunity point blank, Don Head basically just turns into a brick wall and just, forces anything and everything out and away from the net and lets nothing get by him. So anyway, there you have it. It's going to be, again, spoiler, it's going to be Portland and Vancouver in the final here, the Western Hockey League final for 1962-63, my shortened version of that season, and they will be playing off in a best of 5 again. I'm going to use all DoC hockey again. I decided with Paradise it's just a little too different, too much apples to oranges. I didn't like going back and forth with those, so I started this with DoC, played the bulk of it with DoC. I shall conclude it with DoC, and thank you once again to, though I've yet to respond to anything, I will here momentarily. It's one of those things when I'm really in the mood to play tabletop hockey, even if I see some comments that are on the channel on the way to it, I just this is the first and next thing that I want to do. And so I'm going to get this, I wanted to get this done. And so I'm going to upload this and respond again. Just, thank you very much, especially again, not feeling my best today. And so it's really awesome to see, some really nice comments there, I guess, about all the stuff that I did yesterday. So I do notice it, and it is meaningful. And thanks once again. And hopefully, should you give any time, any consideration to this, to check it out. And again, I like to get those thank yous and those acknowledgments in there at the end, because I'm aware that if you only have a couple minutes to spare, or if maybe not even that, you might just want to come to the end and check it out here. And get a final score, which is completely understandable. So, again, I guess to recap, there's 3-0 here. The Portland Buckaroos, I guess they would call it a sweep, that Portland has done here. A couple of close games, though. I think, game 1 was 2-1, and 2-1, 3-1. I'm going to have to play it back. And game 2 is really the only blowout game there that we really had, the really sort of decisive one-sided one. So, again, I'll say cheers. I'm drinking some pulpy OJ instead of coffee right now. Vitamin C, I'm hopefully vitamin C doesn't stand for concentrate. And how's it go again? Cheers, thanks, and bye for now.